Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome tennis enthusiasts, tennis fans, tennis players. We are the Tennis Geeks. Now there is always so much happening in the world of tennis and the rise and fall of absolutely everything. And that's where we come in. We're former pros. I'm Somdev, Devvarman. This is my good friend Purav Raja. And together, yes, we're former pros, but we are forever tennis geeks.
So it's a pleasure to be on, and we finally done it. Huh? We finally made this happen
Yes.
somehow, and we're here to cover everything that you guys want to talk about in your comments. Just leave your comments and let us know what we have to cover, and we'll be happy to take you through our analysis and our feedback on certain chapters. So let's get on, Som. Let's start.
Let's start with this. And first things up, we're going to have the order of play for our show. We're going to talk about how the draws look, both the men's and the women's. Remember, this is, we didn't talk about the opening week, so we're going to talk about how week one went in both the men's and the women's draws, which also leads to the upsets. The upsets lead to the opportunities. Talk of the tour. That's going to be a fun one. And yes, no bonus points. We had to talk about the things that is happening. And also we leave you finally with break points of the day, things that you need to think about as the US Open continues over here. But first up, men's draw. And we won't start with the top half. The Tennis Geeks always start with the current action that's currently happening. This is the third quarter. We're going to take you through quarter by quarter. This is the third quarter, Purav. How do you see this go through?
I mean, now we know that Taylor Fritz obviously is through, and he is in the quarterfinals. He won a tough, 4-set match today, and I think it's kind of fitting. When you talk about Taylor Fritz, it's kind of fitting. We know that Taylor Fritz is the guy who's not going to be content. He's made a few Grand Slam quarterfinals. He said at the start he would love to win a slam, and what better opportunity than now, Som? This is his time really to shine. I mean, Taylor Fritz, you got to think this has got to be somewhere around an American slam now.
Yeah, it has to be. Remember, no American has won the US Open since Andy Roddick did it about over 20 years ago. Now, what Taylor Fritz has to go through is Sasha Zverev, and Zverev is taking care of business. Zverev's taking care of business as well as he can. A great win against Nakashima, and I mean,
yeah,
Sasha Zverev, Taylor Fritz now.
Honestly, I think that's a great win for Sasha. Again, winning in 4 sets. Nakashima was playing some great ball recently, and I think it's a really, really tough match for both of them. I think it's Zverev's match to lose. I think it's Zverev's slam to lose. I mean, we will come to Jannik Sinner, but I think it's Zverev's slam to lose now. And, when he is playing Taylor Fritz in the quarterfinals, I think he's odds-on favorite to win that one.
Yeah, and keep in mind, at the bottom half, that's where all the action is happening with Novak Djokovic out. So we have finished the third quarter, going over to the fourth quarter with Novak now losing. That has opened up the things for pretty much everybody else in the draw.
Yeah, I think, now obviously again, we know that Dimitrov has come through. I can't believe I'm saying this after so many months, but I have to say finally Dimitrov's come through, and what a match he played. 5 sets against Rublev. Rublev again struggling we always see him struggle at the quarterfinal hurdle, but struggling at the 4th round hurdle, which makes me think, Som, what is next for Rublev? What is to come for this
10
guy?
quarterfinals.
Yeah,
10 times.
And now 4th round against Dimitrov. I mean, he did play a great match, but Dimitrov just improved so much. And is Rublev always going to be this journeyman type of play?
Journeyman is harsh.
I keep saying that's harsh. A non-Grand Slam champion material?
I mean, 10 quarterfinals, these are the sort of matches you absolutely have to win, considering when Novak Djokovic is in your quarter and he loses. Now, before we get to Francis Tiafoe, who did get the better of Alexei Popyrin, you do have to talk about that big match, Popyrin taking Novak out. But we will get to that at the upsets. That will be just after we talk about the draw. But incredible stuff from Francis Tiafoe. For Popyrin, I think it was something similar to... Botic van der Zandschulp, who had the best win of his career, taking out Carlos Alcaraz, and then went down in straight sets to Draper. It's very similar with Popyrin because he's obviously played fantastic tennis to get to this point. He's, won Toronto. He's, top player. He came into that match with a lot of belief. But in this one, just felt a little deflated. But, props to Francis Tiafoe for getting through that fourth round match.
Yeah, amazing effort. Can you think about just beating the greatest player of all time and then coming out and then having to play another 4 matches to win your slam? That's a lot of work, and you've just won your first Masters Series event. Think about how much Alexei Popyrin has had to go through in the last month, and he's come through some mammoth challenges. When you see Novak Djokovic on the other side of the draw, on the same side of your draw, you're pretty much, that that's your last time out at Alcaraz. You're going to play your last match at that point. He's not done this for 18 years. This is his worst loss for 18 years, Novak Djokovic. The last time he lost was in the third round, and it was to Leighton Hewitt, who was also in the box watching Popyrin. So that's the achievement we're talking about. These type of achievements, Popyrin's just become a seeded player. He's now in the top 20. He's now chasing tournaments that he never even dreamt of. Credit to his coaching team, and I'm sure we'll come to that. But, just on the whole, Popyrin's been through so much. And now another challenge in Francis Tiafoe. I think it was one challenge too many for 1 month.
I do agree. And if you just look at how well Popyrin did, or how he rather... Well, after winning in Montreal, he goes to Cincinnati and loses in the opening round to Lamont. So, it just kind of feels like a similar trend, but take nothing away. An absolutely incredible win, disrupting the entire draw. Now we finished the bottom section of the draw, but this is what's to come, and we're talking about Jannik Sinner in the first section of the draw, Purav.
Yeah, Jannik Sinner, just so much surrounding him, isn't it? When you talk about Jannik Sinner, there's just so much to talk about. But, he did struggle. He was a set down against Mackenzie McDonald. He looked like, shadow of the player he was. And then finally he's just coming through, and now it's coming to age. Now he's beating Mitchelson easily. Now he beat O'Connell easily. He's got a tough test against Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul, for me, is my favorite American to go deep. And I say that he's got a very, very tough draw. He's got Sinner to play.
Can he beat Sinner?
He can beat Sinner. He has
beaten Sinner in the past.
He can beat Sinner.
Different circumstances.
If I was to take chances on someone, I'd take chances on Tommy Paul to go far in this tournament. At least and it's very tough for me to say that because Tiafoe and Fritz have better draws than Tommy Paul. But I just think he is the one who has had the most top 10 wins, and I think he's my favorite American right now.
Keep in mind, Tommy's been having a great year. Semi-finals at Indian Wells, semi-finals at Rome, winning Queen. So that's 3 different surfaces. Quarterfinals at Wimby as well. Yeah. Great job with the coaching staff with Brad Stein. But a mammoth task ahead. That's what we have in the first quarter. Second quarter now, moving on. That's where so much of this action happened. Yes, Stefanos Tsitsipas losing. We'll get to, what's up with Tsitsi? Really, what's up with Tsitsi? But more than anything else, I want to talk about Nuno Borges from Mississippi State, now coached by former player Rui Machado, made the 4th round at the Aussie. And
I think Nuno Borges, what a win against Mensik, though. Mensik's a guy
saved 3 match points.
Mensik's a guy we have to talk about in the future. He's a guy, I don't want tennis geeks to forget about Mensik and say that, he's going to be top 30 for sure, right?
So top 30 is, you look at players like this and it's a guarantee. Keep in mind, there's two teenagers in the top 100 of the men's ranking, Jakub Mensik and Junshen Shang. And there's a reason when we see teenagers come out and have results like this. Yes, he did lose 6-love in the 5th after having 3 match points against Nuno Borges, but in the future, Jakub Mensik is the real deal.
For sure. We
Absolutely
have to put Mensik in there. And Borges as well, going for the best Portuguese player of all time if he wins the next match. And this is a guy I played in a Challenger final, 3 times in last year.
How'd you do?
We won 2 and we lost 1. But I think we won in Portugal and then he beat us in Tenerife in the final. And just amazing to see how he's come on. We never thought he was playing with his friend Cabral, which he's doing again here. Just amazing how he's come such a long way from where he was. Like, we never thought this guy would be top 30 in the world.
We really never did. And again, college players, you got to give a shout out to college players because they're doing incredibly well. Obviously, he's still around. Tough match against Daniel Medvedev. 4th round in the Aussie, fourth round over here. Talk about having a breakout season, winning a title in Bostad as well on the clay. Took out Nadal. Yes, it's not the same Nadal. All of us know that. But that's the first quarter. The second quarter is the opportunity quarter because there's just so much happening over there. We have to talk about Carlos Alcaraz losing, yes, but with Carlos Alcaraz losing, there's just so much opportunity opening up. And we've talked about how talented Jack Draper is. We've talked about how talented Mahach is. What do we make of that?
Yeah, I think, if I was to say one thing from the show, it's probably Jack Draper. I mean, Jack Draper is just someone who I think is just destined for greatness. He probably can. He's the only guy who I see from England who can take over the Andy Murray mantle. And I say that because I feel like he is Grand Slam material. I don't think he'll win 3 Grand Slams like Andy. I don't think anybody, that's a very tough ask. But Jack Draper is definitely one to watch out for. I think and Matchak. Matchak's had a great run as well. When they get going, it's very, very tough to stop someone like Thomas Matchak. But, I just feel like Jack Draper, just big lefty, reminds me a bit of Ben Shelton, just a little bit more solid from the baseline.
A little bit more solid. Tons of firepower. He's won a title already this season. But yes, now moving on, the second part of that second quarter, is De Minaur. Alex De Minaur, one of my favorite players out there. What can you say about Alex De Minaur? Because for me, it's a massive surprise. Yes, Jordan Thompson being there, this is only his second, fourth round. But Alex De Minaur, keep in mind to all our viewers, quarterfinals of Wimbledon, he has that hip issue, doesn't take the court against Novak Djokovic. This is his next tournament.
Yeah, and he pulls out, and he's not caught for any doping. So that's
he had some sort of a hip issue. He went to Belgrade to get it treated. And then finally,
it's great that we see someone like Alex De Minaur, who is now suddenly the favorite to go through to the semifinals from his quarter. And he's definitely, when you look at that section, that's Thompson, Matchak, and Draper. Definitely we see Alex De Minaur make his first Grand Slam semi-final. And if he's not looking at it as his first Grand Slam semi-final, surely he's looking at his best opportunity to make the Grand Slam semi-final.
No question about it. And the reason I don't know about Purav, but the reason I really, really like Alex De Minaur is, you see, to talk about little guys making it in a big man's game. He's been in the top 10. Throughout his career, everybody told him he didn't have the power. He's the fastest guy. He's so tenacious. Reminds me of a mini Leighton Hewitt out there. Talk about a guy that maximizes every single ounce of energy that he has and gets the best out of himself, and that's Alex De Minaur for you. So he's put himself in this position once again, miraculously, after that injury at Wimbledon, and now here, you have to imagine against Thompson
I think Thompson
favorite.
has a chance, but Thompson, I think, has a chance. I think Thompson serves really well, and he's able to get another upset, and he is Mr. Upset Man. I think he's not, he's maybe not he's not going to be at his fittest, maybe, because he's played so much tennis recently, and just matter of how he's going to come through. Alex De Minaur also, though. Come on, we can't imagine he's going to be at his fittest. I don't think he has been.
He won the last 2 sets against Evans, 6-love, 6-love.
Yeah, I don't think that was a match. I think Evans just completely ran out of steam. That wasn't really a tennis match. It was just, Evans going through the motions, and at that level, Evans doesn't lose love and love.
Yeah, but keep in mind, this is a, Aussie versus Aussie. I think Alex De Minaur goes into this match knowing that he has the mental edge.
Surely you got to give Thompson some sort of chance here.
I really don't. I don't.
Wow.
I don't give him. I just feel like he's gonna have to play. He's gonna have to play just too many balls. De Minaur is not going to give him a whole lot of errors.
Surely that win against Hurkacz, though, gives you some hope for Jordan Thompson.
No, listen, Jordan Thompson is an unbelievable player. Again, just talking about someone who's making the most of his career. Top 30 in the world now. He's an unbelievable player. But I see it as a similar match, and I think De Minaur just has the goods to beat him.
Yeah, De Minaur is definitely a favorite, and that's why this tournament is just so exciting. The US Open right now, because there is no heavy favorite anymore. There's no heavy favorite.
That brings me to the next point. Let's summarize exactly where we're at, because now we've gone through all the 4 quarters of the men's. Yes, we saw the bottom half kind of. We know who the quarterfinalists are now from the bottom half. The top half, we're yet to see. But, we have 12 players left. In my opinion, there is a clear favorite because there's only 2 players left in the draw that have won majors, and that's Sinner and that's Medvedev,
yeah.
and they happen to be in the same quarter.
Yeah. I just can't see how Sinner is going to recover mentally from everything he's going through. And Medvedev's never been a favorite at any slam this year. And I just feel like it's since Australia, Medvedev's not made a final. And he made one final in Rotterdam, and that's it. And then we're talking about February, and now he's had serve concerns. We're not talking about him anymore. Alcaraz has won 2 slams in the process. Novak's won the Olympics. Medvedev's kind of, stepped back a gear. He's not in the big 3 anymore. And I would put him I would put him lower than Zverev today. I'd put him probably at a lower favorite.
You're just saying that because he's in the first quarter.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, but let's look at it this way.
Yeah.
Medvedev now has Borges, heavy favorite there.
Yeah.
Medvedev last year...
then has Sinner, though.
Then has Sinner, if Sinner gets through Paul, of course. But last year in the semi-finals, I never count out Daniel Medvedev. Last year in the semi-finals, he had Alcaraz. Everybody thought that Alcaraz was going to play a great match, beat Medvedev, and set up that popcorn match against Novak in the final. And Medvedev plays spoilsport.
Yeah.
And he sees. He's talked about it in his post-match interviews where he said, it's tough conditions for people to get feel. He just needs to take it one step at a time. I believe he's going to get through Borges without a whole lot of problems.
Look, can Medvedev beat Alcaraz in one match? Can he win another slam? Yes, for sure he can. But can he win? Can he be the next Alcaraz? No, he can't. Can he be the next? Not many people can. But when we were talking about him after the US Open, when he did beat Novak, we were thinking this guy is the next big thing in tennis. And unfortunately, that's dipped.
I mean, you are the harshest critic of tennis players of all time, man.
That's and I'm saying that same thing about Zverev now. If he's going to be considered a multiple-time Grand Slam champion, he better do it soon.
Okay, now let's talk about Americans.
They all better do it soon.
I mean, this has got to be the best chance that America has to win a major after Andy Roddick won his.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the rankings as well. You look at Korda, you look at Tiafoe, you look at Shelton, you look at, Fritz, you look at Paul. They're all inside top 20 in the world. They're between 10 and 20 in the world. There's 5 Americans between 10 and 20 in the world. And that's why it is the opportunity for the Americans. Whoever wins the next match will be top 10. If Paul wins, he'll be top 10. If Fritz wins, he'll be top 10. Korda and Shelton obviously out. But if Tiafoe is obviously defending, he goes through and he'll win a few more. I mean, it's just crazy to think that, in the next...
So if you had to pick one American right now, who would it be?
I mean, just by the draw, I have to pick Fritz. But just by Fritz or Tiafoe.
I would go Tiafoe.
They have the favorable draw. But by record and by people who I think can hit their upper limit or are going to be top 5 in the world and who've had the most top 10 wins, I'm going to go Tommy Paul. I think he's got the most game to be there. And I don't mean game by the other guys don't have game. I just mean by he's done it and proven it and done it at 500 level, done it at Master Series this year, made a lot of runs, beaten Alcaraz, beaten Sinner. I just feel like he's had a lot more wins or, wins that recognized wins than the other two.
All right, now
let's be honest. Fritz has not missed the Grand Slam so far.
He's not.
So far,
he's not. Fritz has played, 4 quarterfinals so far.
And US Open, Tiafoe, I love the guy, but come on. He's done it once at the semifinals and then gone through.
I mean, and yes, we will get to the upsets, but for Fritz, I have to say that the 4 quarterfinals that he's lost to Novak in Australia, that's acceptable. Lost to Musetti, that's a match where you think he goes in with a chance.
Should have won it. Yeah.
Should have. I mean, he believes that he could have won. Loses to Novak in US Open 23, loses to Rafa in 22 at the US Open, and now he's got Zverev. So you believe he's got a chance. But okay, the upsets. That's the big talking point at the US Open so far. And we have to start with the first one that happened. Alcaraz, Botic, Van de Zandschulp. Who saw that one coming?
Yeah, I mean, I think Botic's got to be one of the most up and down players tennis has ever seen. I mean, we saw such a bad match from him after that. I mean, he played one of the poorest matches I've ever seen. He had 5 double faults in a row. I mean, this is something that... 5 double faults in a row. This guy is just, through the roof. It's just crazy. 5 double faults in a row, and then he hit... And Botic Van de Zandschulp is one of those guys who just, comes about. He does things, but, he loses. He loses and he wins, and that was the one match that he played.
He played unbelievable. He was in the zone.
What worries me more, though, is Alcaraz saying that his mentality is an issue. He needs to tackle his mental demons. I mean, what is this guy doing? I mean, he's just won 2 slams, made the finals of the Olympics, come through, had one bad tournament, and that too, I mean, he had a break, he came back, he's had one bad tournament, and now approaching mental demons. I mean, that just gives players hope. If I'm looking at Alcaraz, I'm like, oh my God, this guy is the next best thing in tennis, and he is going to win 10, 15 Grand Slams. Surely you don't want to talk about your mental state. Iga does it too, but she does it for different reasons. She says, oh, I'm only a 5-time. I was scared to approach Serena, and I was, I didn't know what Serena would tell me. She gave me a pep talk. But what is going on? I mean, this guy is the next best thing. He is a 2-time. He's the best player of the year. For sure, whatever happens now, Carlos Alcaraz is the player of 2024. And we're looking at him and we're saying, oh, he has got a mental issue. He's got mental demons to fight.
I mean, yeah, what is this coach thinking, really? Because if you're, I mean, I understand the lows, and we'll come to that because Novak Djokovic also lost. We know that. That's the next player we're going to discuss. But we talked about the lows that a lot of these players had. Because the Olympics, it's not about playing too much tennis, right? Because it's 2 out of 3 sets. Yes, the surface changes can be hard. Clay, grass, back to clay again. Now. And then now back to hard. Obviously, his preparation wasn't great. We saw that at Cincinnati. He said he played the worst match of his life, and he lost to Mofi. Now he's come out, lost in straight sets. Does it have to do with the emotional state of losing after that Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, I think I honestly don't think so, because I think these guys get a lot of leeway in playing as little tournaments as they want, really. This is very different to a challenger player out there who's playing 30, 40 weeks a year, and he just has to carry on with the schedule. Alcaraz is playing 15 tournaments a year. Yes, he deserves to play 15 because he wins a bunch of them, and he wins the biggest tournaments in the world, yes. So, and that's what it comes down to. But at the same time, Alcaraz has to be careful of saying, oh yeah, I've got mental demons. And I think it's a bit of an excuse, really. If I'm honest, I think this Olympics thing is a bit of an excuse. The Olympic schedule came out last year. At least last year, if not more than 52 weeks ago. They had to decide whether they are going to play the Olympics, whether they are going to play Cincinnati, Montreal, and how they're going to approach the US Open. That was the same for all players at the top. That wasn't any different for anyone. And Alcaraz just now is saying, I need mental time off, I need a break, I have to approach it, I'm mentally not fine. I mean, don't say that. It doesn't hold well for you, because you are the best player in the world.
Can he win 24?
I mean,
I guess that's a big question.
He's tackled everything so well. I mean, he's tackled everything so well in his life that it's impossible for me to say no, he cannot. But right now, I'm saying no, he cannot. So
I mean,
I'm saying
I just feel like he goes into every single tournament, almost every single tournament, as a clear favorite, if not one of the big favorites. 21 years old, he's got a head start on the big three in terms of winning majors in different surfaces. Just one away from a career slam. Barring injury, in my opinion, it's going to be scary because he's 21, which means he's going to get faster, he's going to get stronger, he's going to get fitter. He's already got an all-court game. But anyway, 24 is the number. Is the number?
I mean, we'll wait and watch. But for right now, I think double digits is a certainty, but no more than that.
All right. Well, that's an opinion. But talking about somebody who does have 24, Novak. I mean, the Olympic champion coming in here. No one has defended the US Open title since Roger did it way back in 2008. I mean, what's up with that performance against Popyrin? For me, 14 double faults for somebody who's as good as a Novak Djokovic.
I think he's just busy doing, I mean, it looked like a subdued performance. It looked like someone who was tired. It looked like someone who was not ready to win a slam. Everything that I didn't expect from Novak, I saw it this time. And I didn't see it for 18 years. Like I said, I've not seen it for so much time that at the US Open, he comes to, obviously he had that thing with COVID and the whole vaccination scandal. But every time he plays.
And hitting a line judge.
I mean, we talk about all these things, right? When you talk about Novak, you think, okay, he's been through so many scandals. But when he's on a tennis court, you're thinking, this guy is just destined to win. He's going to win every single time. Somehow he's going to win. And at 5-2 in the fourth, I still had hope that he was going to win. He
breaks back, gives himself a chance.
Yeah. But just Popyrin played a great match. I mean, give credit to Popyrin. He's out now, but give him credit. He played a great match. Just Novak just looked so subdued. He looked like he really did not care. And maybe it was injury. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's the fact that he only... But did Novak really play to win the Olympics? That's it?
I mean, the Olympics is one thing. But I want to talk a little bit about Novak Djokovic, the load, the emotional load that it could have had on Novak. Now, back in 2016, Novak Djokovic had not yet won a title at Roland Garros. And 2015, he lost to Stan, which I mean, could
Yeah.
have won, should have won, however you want to say it. 2015, lost in the final to Rafa. So 2016, he goes in there. He's really got that whole emotional load of he needs to win his first Roland Garros title to be up there with the other guys. Goes out, beats Andy Murray. How does he respond? Goes to Wimbledon, loses third round to Sam Querrey. So I see this result over here similar. Have
No,
similarities
I
to
think
that.
like I think the Olympics is not the same because the Olympics is just a medal that he was.
No, no,
the
come on.
Olympics is just a medal that he was
No, no,
destined
no,
to
no,
win.
no.
Everybody's won. Everybody's got an Olympic medal in the top three. It's fine. It's Rafa's got one. Roger's got one. Andy's got one. Novak will have one. It's fine. It's not a big. Alcaraz has one. It's just. It's not a necessity to be. His necessity was to differentiate himself from the rest. If you ask him, would he win 25 Grand Slams or win an Olympic medal?
I disagree with you.
I think-
There's no
I,
question.
I think if he wins 25 Grand Slams, now he's differentiating himself from the rest. Of course he will.
already
Of course he
has.
wants.
Come on.
Of
Come
course
on.
he wants an Olympic medal, Som. Of course he wants one for the
Legacy.
legacy, for everything that he's done. Yes, he completed his big thing. But let's be real. I mean, everybody plays tennis to win Grand Slams. Nobody
He's
remember.
won 24.
Yeah, I mean, everybody plays to win the 25th, and honestly, like he'll be the greatest of all. He is the greatest,
the
of, all
greatest
time.
of all
But I'm
time.
just saying, for the numbers and for Margaret Court and for those reasons, maybe that 25th one will have that much more resemblance than the other 24.
And while
Serena couldn't do it, and she would kill for the 24th. And now we're talking about the Novak, and if he gets to 30, for example, that's
no,
what
no, he's not
differentiates.
getting to 30. He's not getting to 30. I mean,
I honestly-
how much longer?
now
does he
I
have?
think
I
now-
think it's fair to say we've reached the last chapter
Yeah.
of the Novak Djokovic
Yeah, fine.
storied
But
career.
we're 2 years away. We're 2 years away. We're 8 slams away from calling that statement. Because I think, and this is the only year he's not won a slam since 2016, 17.
I think this is the only year in 20 years where someone in the big three
yeah, exactly.
has not
22
won a
years
slam.
since,
But,
since somebody. Yeah.
But the guy who took out Novak, I think we have to give him due because his due time, because Alexei Popyrin, just an incredible effort, talking about what a ridiculous season he's been having,
Yeah.
going out, winning in Montreal, his first ever Masters, then comes up to the US Open. I mean, can we please talk about how well he's played since he's had Xavier Melis on his side, Neville Godwin in his box. We saw Jamin Crabb, we saw Leighton Hewitt, and the importance of how all of those people, those personalities, those former players have impacted someone like an Alexei Popyrin.
Yeah, I think Alexei Popyrin's one of the examples that, Sitsi should be talking about, I think I mean, I'm sure we'll get to that, and I'm sure we'll get to Tsitsipas in a minute, but I can get to it further. I mean, why can't Tsitsipas take a step out of this book of Alexei Popyrin's
agree.
book? There's like 15 players who have retired. Andy Murray retired, Diego Schwartzman retired, Dominic Thiem retired. I mean, why can't he just take a page and just travel with? I'm not saying they're ready to travel with Tsitsi. I'm just saying that I'm just saying that surely there's a role that he can play, and surely there's a they also want to help top players. They love tennis, and we've seen. I mean, Andy loves tennis like I've never seen. Like no one else loves tennis more than him. And just generally, like it's just a matter of time. Sitsi should learn from this. He cannot just wait with his dad, can he, so?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that there's a lot of value in having former players as your coach. Let's take examples of Taylor Fritz. He's working with Michael Russell. Michael Russell was not a top player. He played with us. He's probably better than both of us, but,
for sure,
but he's not
better
a
than you.
marquee name. He's not Mark Philippoussis, let's say. Look at Jannik Sinner. Jannik Sinner is working with Vainotzi. Vainotzi was never in the top 100, but these kind of players, Michael Russell, Vainotzi, Xavier Melis, I think they do a great job at not being at the forefront and just doing the work that's absolutely required. I mean, in my opinion, one of the best coaches that I've been around, that I've seen, that has the best track records is Larry Stefanki. Coached Andy Roddick, coached Fernando Gonzalez, coached
Yeah, I think
Marcelo Rios.
we got to take a football analogy here and say that to our viewers and say that Klopp and Guardiola weren't the best players in the world. They were great footballers. Klopp wasn't barely a footballer, and he was in Division 3 and he played a little bit. Guardiola was obviously a top footballer, but he wasn't Gerrard or Lampard. He wasn't one of those guys. And look at the managerial careers. Look at how they've changed. Look at the top Mourinho. Look at him. Look at the way he's
Alex
changed.
Ferguson.
Look at Ferguson, the way he's changed football. So the best players don't necessarily make the best coaches. They can become the best coaches, and I don't have a problem with that. But I think what we're talking about here is brains behind behind the man, and brains behind the team, and that's what we have to be looking at. And the brains behind a Guardiola, a Klopp, a Mourinho seem to be working far better than a Gerrard and a Lampard.
I agree, and it's just puzzling because at this point, Steph Tsitsipas has been vocal about the fact that he's not happy with his coaching situation, which I don't, for the life of me, understand. Why he can't change.
But
because
Badosa is happy with him, though.
Badosa is happy. Badosa is happy. Yeah, all right, and that's our recap for the men's draw. Week 1, that's what we saw. The action that we have left. Yes, we'll see Jannik Sinner and company in action.
Again, we got to tell our viewers to keep commenting and telling us if we've left out something, to tell us to keep telling, to find out what they want to hear about. Do they want to hear about Osaka's outfit? Do you want to hear about do you want to hear about anything else?
That's crazy.
Just tell us. Yeah, how ludicrous is that outfit, by the way?
I mean,
it's just
loud.
It's where is tennis going? Like, you're gonna show. What are we gonna show up in? It's like a gala festival. It's like, seriously, like it's like a Met Gala. Like,
all right, let's talk about the women's draw now. Yes, we will geek it out. We will go through the third quarter first because that's the action that we just saw today. And when we're talking about the third quarter, the first thing, Barbara Krejcikova, she goes out first, second round. I mean, she's a Wimbledon champion. I don't really know what's going on over there. Yufan Wang, 30 years old, gets all the way to the fourth round. And it's Badosa. It's Badosa at the end of the day that finds a way to win that match and go through. Incredible.
It's just destiny that we just spoke about Tsitsipas and now we're talking about Badosa.
Yep.
In the same in the same in the first section. No, look, she's come through. I remember I saw her play a full match against Raducanu recently, and I thought they both played very well in the Master Series event, and Badosa won that, and she just seems to be on a run. She's obviously been 3 in the world. She's obviously tackled. She's been through a lot. She's been through an injury. She's done everything right that I think Tsitsipas should do. She's done it. She's come through. She has a good coaching team. She has a good head on her shoulders. She's playing the best tennis. She takes the ball very early. She dominates from the forehand side. I think she does everything really well. And we saw that again against Wang. She's taking her opportunities, plays really brave, and turns up in the big matches. That I can't say the same about a Tsitsipas, who doesn't, I say that now, but before, I mean, let's not forget, Tsitsipas was 2 sets to love up against Novak.
But hold on there, because Paula Badosa, for somebody who was ranked 2 in the world, she was ranked as high as 2 in the world. Second quarterfinal only. I mean, yes, she's obviously done a great job getting this far, taking care of business, especially once the draws opened up. She was meant to play Krejcikova in the third round. Plays Rus, the qualifier.
Tough match there. I saw that match.
Match points.
Out.
Down match
points.
She
was out of the tournament and she came back and somehow she's...
And then goes out 1 and 2 against Yufan Wang.
I mean, that Yufan Wang one was kind of one that I expected. That's the first fourth round that she made for so many.
I mean, Wang did say that she did want to retire because she had an injury. Badosa did. But, I mean, still incredible because now... You have to believe that she thinks she can make semis because she's not got Coco Gauff. She's got Navarro.
Look, I mean, when you're talking about someone like Badosa, she's had one breakout season. She's had one great season. She made 2 in the world, and then she was injured. So I can understand the reasons why Badosa wanted to retire. But now that she's made this comeback, she's happy. I mean, she's obviously happy on the tennis tour. Her boyfriend's there. Her support is there. Well, I mean, she has to play tennis. So tennis is the way forward. It's great that she's playing. And I think she can be back to 2 in the world. Women's tennis is crazy. So she can be back to 2 in the world very soon. Emma Navarro, I mean.
Next top 10. She is now guaranteed to be in the top 10 when the new rankings come out. She's played a ridiculous match now against...
She is the real spoiler to Coco Gauff.
I mean, two slams in a row now. 2 slams in a row. What do you say about Coco Gauff first? Because defending champion is out.
19 double faults. 19 double faults.
That's a scandal.
Yeah, I mean, you can't serve 19 double faults and expect 60 unforced errors.
That's a joke.
60 unforced errors in the match. I mean, how do you expect to win that tennis match? I mean, you cannot. The nerves are definitely not sorted for Coco Gauff, which makes me think, is she in the mix? Is she in there?
I
I
mean,
mean, we don't see that anymore. Sabalenka served two. Sabalenka
yeah.
serves two double faults.
But I mean, I just
And
feel
we're
like
talking about somebody who had so many serving demons in the past.
I just feel like women's tennis is fairly volatile.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fairly volatile.
I can say
which
the same about men now. We can
men's
say
now, more
yeah.
more than men's this week more than
Maybe
than
this
before.
year actually, since it's gone on.
I mean, but
we've
you
got the odd semi-finalists popping in all the time. Now we get the odd semi-finalists all the time, and we'll get two more here, at least two more.
Yeah, and Jack Draper could be one of them.
I mean,
It could
there's
be
so
Alex
many.
de Minaur. There's going to be certainly a first-time semi-finalist. But now let's put our attention now on the fourth quarter, because that's where, in my opinion, the favorite, for me, the favorite for the tournament is Aryna Sabalenka, just taking care of business. She lost in the finals over here before, but the way she's playing leading up to this, winning in Cincinnati, where she beat Pegula, she beat Swiatek 3-3, quite a drubbing. It could have been much more dominating than that. But it's it's Aryna Sabalenka taking out Mertens, no problems there at all.
Yeah, I think, Sabalenka, I mean, we always knew this one's coming. In this draw, that's the difference. And that is the big difference. That's the big difference between Sabalenka and Coco Gauff. While we can still put them in the same breath and we say the big three of women's tennis and we keep talking about them, Sabalenka and Swiatek just seem to be that notch up. When we look at them in the draw, we think, look, Sabalenka's coming through, Swiatek's coming through. Coco Gauff, well, she can be upset. And that's what happened. It happened at Wimbledon, and now it happened to US Open. And, I think Sabalenka is just too strong. Her game has just come of age. It's just too strong. She does everything, but a lot better. Her power is just relentless.
Now, another person in that draw that is still playing as we're doing this show right now is Qinwen Zheng, who is having a heck of a season up against Vekic. She's up a set right now. But just talking about the season that Qinwen Zheng has had, and I want to get into the history of this just a little bit after we take a look at the draw.
The Olympics, the finals, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the match that they played in the final. It's a rematch. Zheng won that fairly straightforward. I think she's pretty comfortable with this matchup. Tennis is so much about the matchups.
It's not on clay, though. It's not on clay.
It's not on clay, but you're talking about Zheng, who's, made finals in Aussie. And the story over here, I feel like, is unbelievable, because Qinwen Zheng was working with Wim Bassett last year at the US Open, where Coco Gauff was working with Pere Riba, where she won the US Open. End of the year comes around. Coco Gauff says she doesn't have a whole lot of control over the coaching situations, which as a tennis player, I don't like that. I don't buy that. If you're the player, you decide who your coach is. If you just won the US Open with Pere Riba, you don't fire him for somebody else. You just don't do that. Yeah. Now, the story, what transpired was Wim Bassett went to the Naomi Osaka camp, left Qinwen Zheng hanging. Pere Riba was out, and you love these shuffles. They always happen in the double store all the time at the end of the year. But coaching, it happens as well. Pere Riba then joins Qinwen Zheng. What do you know it? Just a month later, Qinwen Zheng is in the finals of Aussie, having a breakout season, winning a gold medal at the Olympics, and now is coming up with great performance after great performance, establishing herself as one of the top players in the world, challenging the big three. Yeah. And I feel like we have to give a shout out to Chinese tennis.
Yeah, Chinese tennis. And if you're listening and you want to turn pro, hire Pere Riba, no? You gotta hire. you gotta get this guy on your team. I mean, this guy seems to be a miracle man. He's coming up with all the results right now, and fair enough. I think Qinwen Zheng. I'm not saying that she will lose, and she's just set up right now. She won't lose to Donna Vekic, but at the same time, Donna Vekic, she's had a remarkable career. She's come through so much, and now
Incredible.
To be in a final, and to be in the Olympic finals, and now to make fourth round again. We weren't talking about that.
She made semis. She made semis at Wimbledon.
Yeah, we weren't talking about Donna Vekic at the start of this year. We'd all forgotten about, after the Stan Wawrinka instance, we'd all forgotten about Donna Vekic. We had not even thought about that.
I wasn't thinking about the Stan Wawrinka incident, but the injuries that she's been through, but she's back. And it's great to see Qinwen Zheng do as well as she's doing. But let's switch our attention. We've finished the bottom half of the women's draw. Let's go to the top half, where we have one of the favorites. I said my favorite is Sabalenka, but Swiatek has to be the second. Back into the fourth round, now against Samsonova. I mean, what do you make of this section?
Look, I don't think Swiatek is the same Swiatek we see at Roland Garros, but she still won the US Open before, and she's still in there with, I think I'd still put her in with the same chance as Sabalenka. Samsonova, I mean, in the last 4 sets, Samsonova's won 5 games. So, I mean,
So she's in the quarters. So Swiatek's in the quarters.
I mean, in the last 5 sets, I mean, this closest set has been 6-2. And they've played once that was really close, and that was on clay. So I mean, this is not a match for me. I love Samsonova. I think she plays really well, and she's come through. You know, she's now top 16 in the world, and credit to her for where she is. Girls like Samsonova, Schneider. I'm sure we'll be talking about these a little bit more in the future. But just when you're talking about Iga Swiatek, just tough to see her lose this one.
Well, I agree. I completely agree. But also on the top quarter, we do see Danielle Collins. This will be the last time that Danielle Collins plays in a major. She's taking the year. She's done. She's retiring at the end of the year, of course. But yeah, just taking a look at the first quarter, a few of those names over there. Sara Irani, she's still popping in there. But Diane Schneider, what can we say about her?
I mean, a young girl from Russia, you know. It's surprising. She's 18 in the world, and nobody knows her so. And this is how poorly tennis is marketed. We know so little about players like this. And this could be the next Grand Slam champion. We haven't spoken about her at all. And there are people on the men's draw as well. I say WTA, ATP as well. We market players so poorly now that we are struggling when they do make it to the top.
Mahach.
We should be looking at
Mahach is an example.
Draper. I mean, we're not even talking. Tommy Paul.
I mean, Schneider, just to, again, tell our viewers, she's won 3 titles this year.
Yeah.
And she's won a title on hard, she's won a title on grass, and she's won a title on clay.
Wow.
And she's 20 years old. She's had 46 wins.
And she's 20 years old and 18 in the world.
18 in the world. But the problem for her now is she has a certain Jess Pegula, who she just lost to in the Toronto, in the semifinals of Toronto, 4-3. And Pegula as well is just doing incredibly well to come
Pegula
back.
has just come back from injury, right? Yeah.
She has.
So Pegula is now, you know, this is her chance. You got to feel she's the American. I mean, obviously we talk about sad that Danielle Collins retired after that season, though. That's sad. But at the same time, I mean,
Is it really?
I think yes. I think she's had the best season of her life. Best, I say. She made a final against Barty. Best season that I think she's playing her best tennis right now. And just to retire at this juncture is pretty sad.
I mean, it is.
But maybe she has other challenges, and tennis is
I
not
was
the
going
only
to say,
thing.
I was going to say, tennis is not the biggest thing for certain people.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Danielle Collins, you got to wish her well. This is her choice. You got to wish her well. But couple people I have to talk about over here: Sofia Kenin and Emma Raducanu. Are we really looking at them as one slam wonders?
Yeah, we are, and that's because they don't make it every time to that mix, and we don't look at them in the same breath. I mean, they did win a Grand Slam, but they don't put themselves in the same category anymore. At least for the last few years, they haven't. And since Emma got her first top 10 win against Pegula just before Wimbledon, and that's the only top 10 win she has.
That's crazy. That's a crazy statistic. Now, again, just talking about Kenin, since she won at Aussie 2020, she made the finals of Roland Garros right after that. Since then, 2020, she's played 14 slams. She's made 2 fourth rounds, 2 third rounds, and the rest have been first and second.
Exactly.
And a similar story with Raducanu. And I know that we are both good friends, but you more so with Raducanu's current coach, Nick Cavaday. But Raducanu won the US Open in 2021. She's played 8 slams since. 4th round at Wimbledon 2024.
Now, that's it.
The rest of them first and second.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
first and second round. You're not in the mix.
And we got to put Ostapenko as well in there and say that Ostapenko has more of a chance. I think she's been more consistent. I say she's still a one slam wonder, but Kenin and Raducanu, I mean, yes, they've been plagued with injuries. Yes, it's been very difficult for them emotionally. Yes, Emma Raducanu is a superstar in the UK right now.
Yeah,
but
anywhere.
It's anywhere in the world. I mean, she's probably one of the most Instagrammed people ever seen. But at the same time, and that's not an excuse. If you're going to do it in tennis and you're going to be there, and that's not an excuse for Osaka either. She's going to be forgotten soon if she doesn't come up with something. She's a 4-time Grand Slam champion.
I think Osaka's case is obviously different because she went through stuff and she came back. Now she's a mother. Bodies change.
But I'm still saying they're still not Grand Slam champions anymore, and we don't put them in the mix to be. I understand, and everybody, and I say this with immense respect for what they're going through, everybody goes through a lot of challenges. And I'm telling you, Swiatek's going through a lot, Sabalenka went through a lot, and she still comes out, and we know Sabalenka's gone through a lot this year. and she's still come through, and she's still come out on top, and she's still competing for Grand Slam titles. So, unfortunately, nobody really has an excuse in tennis. We don't.
Yeah,
and
excuses don't matter.
Yeah.
The excuses don't matter. But let's take a look at the last quarter, the second quarter of the women's draw, which was headlined by Rybakina pulling out once again.
Yeah, I mean, Rybakina pulling out for it's a general thing. If she doesn't play this, I mean, literally, she either plays the tournament or she pulls out. There's no losses. She's pulled out 6 times this year.
Say that again.
6 times this year she's pulled out. I mean, this is something is definitely up. I mean,
she has split with her coach Stefano Vukov, but while she did pull out, opportunity opened up for Caroline Wozniacki, who just made a comeback here last year. I thought it was miraculous that she made the round of 16 last year, and guess what? She's followed it up once again, and she's made it back to the 4th round.
It's
Unbelievable.
Great. It's great to see Wozniacki back. Tennis needs people like that. Tennis needs a Wozniacki. She's one of the girls who kind of put tennis on the map.
Two kids.
There was a time with Wozniacki and Sharapova, and we're watching all that together.
Number one in the world, Grand Slam champion.
And we need some of the past to keep playing, and that's great about women's tennis, right? And Haddad Maya as well. What an effort.
What an effort. But Wozniacki, I have to say this, she always lacked, even when she was number 1 in the world, I think people, tennis geeks out there or the experts, whatever you want to call them, would all agree that she lacked power, she lacked firepower, she lacked the big, and now at 34 years old, after having 2 kids, she still lacks that stuff.
Yeah.
She still does. And, but she's 70 in the world. She's played only 12 tournaments.
I think the rackets, the technology, stuff like that. Not that she wasn't playing with Babolat back then, but I think she's realized what she can and cannot do. And she's playing a lot more smart than she was playing before. I mean, the backhand's an absolute dream. That backhand.
She's not going to miss a whole lot of balls. But for me, the thing is that, she's around 70 in the world right now. But she's only played 12 tournaments, which is about half as much as everybody else has played. So kind of, obviously, don't talk about her level. Her level is really high. But for me, if she continues playing like this, top 30 would be miraculous. Top 25 would be miraculous. But
another
it's still
thing,
incredible
on the
that she's
WTA,
70.
On the WTA tour, though, you get a few more chances than you do on the ATP tour. So you do get a lot more wildcards. You do get a lot more opportunities than you would do if you're a men's player. So that's the good thing. And we do see a lot of comeback stories in the women's tour, which we don't see that many on the men's.
We see Svitolina.
We see so many on the women's tour, and that's because they get
Osaka.
A few more chances. Even Raducanu, she's well inside the top 100 now.
Yeah.
And that's credit. I mean, that's great for the system. I mean, they go through a lot with pregnancy and stuff like that, and they, and I think it's a great system that they have, that the Grand Slam champions do get some sort of priorities.
Yeah, they do, and she's making the best of her opportunities up against Haddad Maia. That's going to be a really tough match, and this is the last part of that 3rd quarter. What a year Paolini is having. Things dreams are made of. She's 28 years old, gone and made a final. Gone and made 2 finals, sorry.
2 finals, yeah.
2 finals, and now she's up against Mukova, who I think could be tricky, because Mukova, in my opinion, when she's healthy, is one of the best players in the world. Certainly one of the best to watch.
I mean, look at Mukova. Look at that section. I mean, that section is Mukova, Osaka, Ostapenko, right there. And that's your first 3 names at the top. I mean, Mukova is 50 in the world. She's played 6 tournaments. 50 in the world, 6 tournaments. And Paolini, I mean, look, she's made 2 Grand Slam finals. Can you imagine someone of her height, someone of her frame, someone of her size to make 2 Grand Slam finals in a row? Nobody would have predicted this, and to be a top doubles player. I mean, she plays doubles, she plays singles, and she's made 4th round of all the slams. She's done. Paolini is just the perfect tennis professional right now.
I agree, and when you're out there coaching, because that's what I spend a lot of time on court. When you look at an example like a Jasmine Paolini, you look at all your kids and you say that's exactly how you want to be, because she's got the best energy that anybody could ever have. She maximizes. I know we said maximize with Alex de Minaur earlier, but Paolini is just one of those players that gets the best out of herself, puts herself in the right position time after time after time, and she's doing it once again over here. Can she beat Mukova?
I mean, Mukova has got the better head-to-head. She's 3-0 against her. So I think...
But it's a different Paolini.
It's a different
Paolini in 2024 is very different.
But it's a healthy Mukova as well.
It's a healthy Mukova. It'll be an entertaining match.
Yeah, I think for sure.
A super entertaining match. Yeah. And again, we've gone through the 4 quarters of the men. We've gone through the 4 quarters of the women. Now just summarizing where we're at with the draw as we go into week 2. What can we really expect? Swiatek, to me, still remains one of the favorites. Sabalenka is the favorite for me. But the rest of the draw, how do we see it?
Yeah, I think, you got to put Mukova in as the big dark horse. Mukova and Paulini, I think if Mukova gets over that one, she's the big dark horse to make, we already see her make runs at slams. Every time she does play a slam, she's heavy favorite. I think she's definitely one to watch out for. I honestly don't think it's Qin Wen Zheng that I would watch out for, but, I think if I was to pick one, Som, I'm going to go Caroline Mukova.
I like that. I really do. I think that that's a very fair pick. All right, well, there you have it. That's the women's draws right now. Everybody loves watching Mukova play. I'm sure we're going to really enjoy that Mukova-Paolini matchup. But it's time to now transition from the draws, from on-court to off-court, and the talk of the tour. The talk of the tour undoubtedly has been the controversy that has surrounded, the cloud that surrounded Jannik Sinner. And I know a lot of experts, a lot of former pros, a lot of current pros, they've all had their 2 cents on it. But what do we make of it here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem I face is that I'm sure we'll come to WADA and stuff, but I'm going to start, and I'm sure you have a take on WADA, but I'm going to start with the crux and say the ATP really needs transparency and needs consistency. The ATP needs to learn how to be consistent. I'll just give you a small example. Why is Jannik Sinner, if he's clean, and I'm sure I don't know the answer to that, and I'm not one to judge that, and I'm sure everybody's doing a great job with that, but why are half his points taken away and half not? If he is clean, why are half taken away and half not? And that's exactly the ATP for me. They do half a job and then they don't do the other half. And that they should issue a statement saying, what am I doing, what am I not? Because I'm sure you have a take on it. I'll come to what he takes in a minute and what he's wrong.
I agree with that, because one thing that absolutely doesn't make sense to me or as a former player is, if he's clean, why is Indian Wells points and prize money off?
Yeah.
And if that's off, then why is Miami not off?
Yeah.
Because he was tested in Indian Wells. It was
tested
positive.
twice.
Tested in Miami. It was positive. So why? Yeah, it's just puzzling.
And he won
it's
Miami,
arbitrary.
right?
Yeah, and he won Miami.
So Miami should
Be
potentially
off.
go off.
Miami should go off.
Both should be off.
Miami
Both should be off for
I mean,
sure. This is not a. Let's look at what he's taken. So let's look at let's look at what he's taken. He's taken a substance called closbestol, right? What is closbestol? Closbestol is an anabolic steroid. That's what it is. It's just a form of anabolic steroid. Now we know what anabolic steroids do. They improve performance, they increase muscle mass, and they improve recovery. Guess what you need to win a Grand Slam? You need improve performance, increase muscle mass, and improve recovery.
I will say this.
And also, why is the physio hired? Why is this physio fired now? But why was he hired if he didn't know what it was and he didn't know the harm?
No, but they knew about this way back in March. Why was he fired at the US Open? Right?
Because he tested positive.
No, but he tested positive in March.
No, because he was given because it came out positive.
No, but they knew. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's Sinner's decision. Maybe it was the pressure from the public
And look, like you said,
image
right,
and all of that stuff. But
Like you said, we like Jannik Sinner. We have nothing
I
against
I
the
love
guy.
Jannik Sinner. I think he's a great
But we
professional.
have
He's a great example. But here's my problem. Leave Jannik Sinner out of this. The ATP has a history of being not transparent, right? Everybody knows they covered up the Andre Agassi thing. Yes, that was not performance enhancing, but they covered it up. Now, in my opinion, WADA is severely underfunded, right? They're
Really?
the
Okay.
main organization. They have a yearly budget of roughly 50 million. Guess how many sporting organizations are under them?
100.
More than 650.
Wow.
More than 650 sporting organizations for WADA with a budget of about 50 million. It's not cutting it.
But
right?
that's the ATP's fault for hiring them.
No, it is in a sense, but that leads me to my next point. Why can't the ATP try to protect its players a little bit more? And I'll tell you exactly what I mean. The Mikael Ymer case, the fact that Mikael Ymer is now banned because he missed a drug test. Have we ever seen that in any single sport? Have we seen that in the NBA? Have we seen that in the NFL? Have we seen that in La Liga, in the Premier League, or all the big football leagues? No. The
Yeah.
answer is no. So why are tennis players scrutinized in that way? Yes, is it a team sport thing, or is
No,
it
I think it's just a consistency thing. I think we have to be consistent, because before we know it, you're down a slippery slope. You're down the slope of cycling. You're down the slope of, oh, is he doing something? Is he not? And, subconsciously, we're already there. We're already there. Nobody asks about any other, anyone else. Nobody asks about Cristiano Ronaldo, because guess what? He's very well protected. But everybody's asking about other players. Nobody asks about a basketball player. Nobody asks LeBron James. Why don't we ask about him?
No,
Why don't we ask about anybody?
I just find it ludicrous. I find it ludicrous that players are, you know how easy it is to miss a whereabouts test, because what we have to do as tennis players is tell write in the whereabouts to WADA where we will be having dinner 3 Sundays from today, and that's impossible. Yeah. And if you're off by 30 minutes, that's one failed drug test, and you have 3 chances. So Mikael Ymer missed a drug test, and he's now banned. Is and I feel like common sense should prevail, because is he positive for performance enhancing substance? The answer is no.
Yeah.
The answer is no. So, Viktor Troitsky was told by a doctor that he could come back and give his blood sample the next day. He came back the next day. That's a missed test.
Yeah, look, there's 2 things to this. One is that in baseball, Diego Padres was a baseball player. He took clobestol and he got banned for 2 years. Okay, he was a baseball player that got banned for exactly the same substance. And the last point I want to make is the ATP, whatever you're saying, come out with a statement and say it. That's all I'm saying. Come out with a statement, say what you think, and that'll be the end of it. But I'm sure you have a statement, and I'm sure you're justified in your answers. But the fact that we don't know it worries us. That's all.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that is what we have from
Top of the Tour.
Thoughts, yes, please send us your thoughts. Everybody needs to be in on these kind of conversations, because things are not clear, and at the end of the day, we just need to get better.
And the Geeks can help you out. We can help you out. And
we can continue these conversations for hours. But again, that ends our segment of to talk of the tour. The last thing we'll have to do is talk about the things that we need to look forward to at the US Open moving forward so far, break points, things that we need to think about. The first thing, again, we've talked about the draws of the men and women. One of the things that has stood out to me with the doubles, and I know that you love this, is that Rajiv Ram and Salisbury are on the brink of history. Yeah. 3 titles, defending. They've won. I mean, where am I going with this? They've won the US Open the last 3 times. They're trying to go for a 4th, which has never ever been done. The 3 in itself is historic. I think the last time was 100 years ago or something like that, something crazy. But in recent history, Rajiv Ram and Salisbury, can they continue?
Yes. And the answer is they can. And the answer is they're one of the few teams, a lot of respect for them. The reason I say a lot of respect, they stuck together through thick and thin. They've stuck together when things were not good. And they have had very, very patchy spells where they didn't win matches. And you know how tough it is for a doubles team to stick through when you're losing every single day?
I mean, one of the most fun things as a tennis player at the end of the year is to be
watch
around the doubles locker room, because everybody is switching. Yeah. There's so many switches happening. One bad loss.
We don't need to remind India how tough it is to stay together as a doubles.
No, we really don't. We won't even mention those names. But yes, Rajiv Ram and Joe Salisbury gone through thick and thin. They play this evening, and they have a very tough match against Lamans and Withrow. Rajiv and Salisbury have only won 1 title this year, and that was the first week of the year. Wow. In Adelaide. They've made 1 final, and they're up against Lamans and Withrow, who won 4 titles, and 3 of them have been Atlanta, DC, and Winston-Salem.
Wow. So they have a lot of, I mean.
They have their work cut out.
But I mean, I think Rajiv and Joe are still favorites. At the same time, obviously Bopes is out. That's a big.
Bopes is out.
That's a big.
Defending finalist.
I think that's the end of the Indian challenge. I mean, of course, he's in the mixed doubles, but for all generic purposes, that's the end of the Indian men's. And let's be honest. I mean, they look at men's doubles as something that has all the points, and you get into the draws based on men's doubles. Mixed doubles does not have points. They do not have a ranking. Then it's played only in the Grand Slam. So, as much as, and we've seen Bopana not play quite a few times now as his body's getting older. Of course, it's great. He is in the quarterfinals against Ebden, but, he's the main tournament, and the reason he's still playing is to go for these men's doubles titles, and it's a shame that he's finally out.
Yep. And
Yuki, though, good match. I mean,
I was just gonna go there. Yuki and Olivetti, They went down to the top seeds, but the problem is not that they went down. The problem is the scoreline.
Yeah, it happens. I think the first match in a show court with Olivetti, Olivetti really needs to work on. Yuki Olivetti really needs to work on how to hold serve on Yuki Bambri's serve. I mean, Olivetti was poor at the net. Yuki Bambri, one of the areas he really needs to work on is how to hold his serve with his teammate and with his partner, and then they can be the top 20, top 30 team that I was talking about.
I think they can be.
Top 20, top 30 individually. I think they can be a top 10 team. I think they can really be very, very good. It's just about, managing these few aspects.
Well, that's what we have. That's our show for today. Thank you once again for joining us, all you tennis fans. Thank you for geeking out with us. Now, we will be doing this for the rest of the US Open and following after that as well. But let's just focus on the US Open. We'll be here every day after the matches. Purav Raja and myself, once again, we've heard a lot of YouTubers do this, so I guess we have to do it too. If you like our content, please click
subscribe.
the subscribe
send
button.
us your comments, guys. Let us know what you want to talk about.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we'll have an open forum of discussion with anything that needs to be talked on with tennis. So thanks again for watching the Tennis Geeks, and we will see you very soon.
Thanks,
Take it
guys.
easy, guys.
Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.